Are you aware that the numbers of people in unhappy relationships, number of divorces and breakups is at its highest, and those numbers will keep increasing? Well, if you're not aware, this is not a statistics class. So I suggest you check Google and conduct your research. But there is a major underlying reason why this is happening, and that is sexual polarity, or should I say, the lack of understanding of sexual polarity. And that brings us to our topic for today, which is sexual polarity. Sounds interesting, right? So we are going to be breaking down this topic based off of some points. And the first point, we're going to define what sexual polarity is. And the second point, we're going to talk about aspects of sexual polarity that you can comprehend. The third point, aspects of sexual polarity that you might not comprehend. The fourth point, sexual polarity is the foundation of every interaction. And the fifth point, how sexual polarity can work for you. So, as we all know, in Mind Shift, we believe in a well rounded life and a well rounded society. And that involves different aspects of life working well: relationships, money, spirituality, purpose. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about relationships and how to include that into the roundedness of life. So, jumping right to it, what is sexual polarity? As the name implies, polarity, and it's just the magnetic pull between two poles, the masculine pole and the feminine pole. So, have you ever heard someone say, or have you ever heard as a man, have you ever heard someone tell you as a man that he should behave, or he's not behaving like a man, or this man is not behaving like a man, or someone tells a lady, this lady is not behaving like a lady, right? That is the person expecting uh, the other person to represent their side of the sexual pole, right, of the polarity. So there are masculine expectations and the feminine expectations. And if people can have a good understanding of this and how it affects their relationships, it will work better for them. So moving to our second point on the aspects of sexual polarity that you can comprehend. It's simple, and there are levels. There's a very masculine and very feminine, mildly masculine, mildly feminine, that balance, right? And a very feminine lady would naturally be attracted to a very masculine man, right? And vice versa. So what is the concept behind masculinity? It is being tough, it is being decisive, it is being focused and having your vision and following up on that vision, right? Very ruggedly, so to say. And the concept of femininity is being soft and being very intuitive, being there's I'm sure we understand this whole femininity and masculinity definition, but bringing it in makes the balance, right? So I was discussing with a friend a while ago, and she was talking about a guy, and the guy, he behaves, he's soft, he's not the strong guy, the very strong guy. And somehow those are the kind of people that always come around her. And it was just a simple definition. I told her that she was raised by men around her, she was raised by her father. So she has a more masculine personality, and that made her be more attracted, or that made her attract feminine men, right? So when she got that understanding, she was able to balance things up and act accordingly. Because if a masculine minded man meets up with a masculine minded woman, there will be too much friction. So the opposite sides is the balance, and it's very powerful that each side, they have their expectations, and if these expectations are not fulfilled, it will be an issue. So sexual polarity, it can be temporary, or it can be short-lived or long-lived, depends on what the source is. There are temporary sources of this, and temporary sources could be as little as looks, uh, and maybe money, right? And it could be strong things like personality, vision. So, say for a guy, a lady can see his vision. Maybe he's a pastor. She has seen his vision for ministry, and that brings that sexual polarity. That makes her attracted to him because she's attracted to his vision and wants to support, right? And the shallow one, the dressing. Oh, I like the way this guy dresses, and it brings the attraction. There are a lot of things, but I believe we can get the picture we're trying to paint. So, whichever one it is, the idea is whatever was the source of the polarity should keep going, right? So, if it is the vision that was the source of the polarity, the vision should keep going. The vision shouldn't die or get smaller, right? Because if along the line the vision dies, that lady that was attracted and the source of the sexual polarity was the vision would everything will start dying down, and she will get angry, and the man will be like, "Ah, what's wrong with this woman, all that, but the reason is that what she saw that brought her in there is dying gradually, right? So that's the idea of sexual polarity. I believe we're getting the gist, we're getting the idea of what we're saying. And it's important that we bring it to our lives and think about situations, whether personal situations or a situation that's happened with someone. When the two people were having an issue, what was the major cause? And if you can do a root cause analysis, you would see that it's not too far from the what sexual polarity defines, all right? Then the aspects of sexual polarity we might not understand. We're about to go a bit astronomical now. So imagine the sun and the moon, right? The sun is strong, it has power, it supplies heat and is a major source of light to the world. And the moon is a a following, right? It follows the sun. And the light that the sun emanates, that's what the moon absorbs. And when it's time for the moon at night, it shines or reflects that light, right? So that is what sexual polarity is really about. So everybody has a place, right? Imagine if the sun shines at night, the night won't be night, right? So uh, the man is like the sun, he most things emanate from him, right? And then the woman is like the moon. She absorbs that energy. She absorbs things from him, and that is how everybody functions better. And this is mostly in the context of a relationship, right? So where you can see this happen, take for example, um, a woman, a lady in a relationship. She probably has a lot of money and she can get herself a very thoughtful gift, right? But if her person or her man gets that gift for her, she's more happy, right, than she buying it for herself, even if she can afford it. Why? Because she's absorbing an energy. There's an energy she's absorbing from him, and that gives her that fulfillment, right? But let's talk about the flip side of the man. If the woman buys something for him that he can afford, he will be appreciative, but he might not see it the same way. He can see it as, oh, respect, regard, and all that, and not entirely exactly the same way the woman feel it. Right. So it's different people or different genders. They have different things. I had a very interesting story, and it was a friend that was talking to me, and he was like, his his uh, his girlfriend that he planned to marry her, and they've been together for a couple of years, about 3 years, and everything was going well. But along the line, when he lost his source of income and was trying to balance up, the lady told him that she feels like he's a small boy, that she just feels he's a tiny person, that she always used to feel that he was a bigger person, but now she feels he's tiny. And that was a very interesting thing to say. But with the understanding of sexual polarity, you can tell that that was a sexual polarity issue. And that issue is so deep that you can't force it. Right? So if the person is feeling this way, it's about giving an understanding and having a compromise. And if that compromise cannot be made, then there's no way forward. But most times, a compromise can be made, right? So we go to the next point on sexual polarity is the foundation of every interaction. So this is a very interesting one, and it it's a fact. And if you have any lady around, you can confirm this fact in closed doors, right? So when a lady meets a guy straight up, or when a guy meets a lady, but mostly ladies comprehend things faster. So let's stick on the side of ladies. When a lady meets a guy, from the first instant, she can tell what what she wants to do with the guy and the capacity in which they can relate, right? Maybe from his first word, from his mannerism, right? She can tell. So she can detect the sexual polarity from the start, and every other thing is based off of that. So that is why maybe uh, a guy can meet a lady and she's just behaving somehow, right? That polarity is not there and you can't fight it. Just move on, right? But that same guy can meet another lady and everything is just happening so easy. It's not like he's a magician, right? It is about the polarity. The polarity was felt. Whatever the reason could be, however shallow, however deep, but there was polarity there. So that is the foundation of most interactions. And even for the guys, if a guy sees a lady, uh, he can tell instantly, maybe from her presentation, how she communicates, her spoken English. He can tell, oh, this is a respectable person. Or depends on the settings where he meets her, that polarity can be felt. But if that same person meets that same lady in a different setting, maybe she represented herself or she's represented less than normal, that polarity might not be there. So it's important that we don't fight these things. When the polarity, when sexual polarity is reducing, it's not a thing to fight, right? It's a thing to discuss about it and check out what were the things that made the polarity high initially and how is it diminishing and how can it be high again. And when that conversation is had, you'll be surprised that everything goes or everything will go very smoothly. It will be like magic, right? So, on the last point, how sexual polarity can favor you, we've talked a lot about that already, and it's about an understanding, right? So, if uh, you're trying to have an interaction with someone, or you've always been having an interaction with someone, and everything is going down, it's getting more boring. People are getting more irritated. There's more fights, right? The main cause is the sexual polarity is diminishing. And if it's a masculine man and a feminine woman type of setting, they need to go back to the drawing board and be what they are, right? And if for some reason it is the masculine woman and feminine man, they have to go back to their their corners and do what they have to do. So when each person does what they're supposed to do, they help the other person be better, right? So I believe we have had a little insight on what sexual polarity is and the importance. And we are going to talk exhaustively about sexual polarity in our live stream. Uh, so we would have our live stream attached to this video somewhere when it comes. It will drop hours after this episode has dropped. So thank you for your time, and we still remain Mindshift, and I'm the coordinator of Mindshift. My name is Anthony Okon. Till our next episode, until our live stream. Cheers.